I want to thank Councilman Krikorian for joining us this morning. It's now 10:05. Can we have my colleagues come on down to the chamber? Okay, as the rest of our colleagues are making their way to the chamber, as we wait for the other council members, I'd like to ask Councilor Paul Koretz if we can do the presentation on our dog adoption. Thank you, Councilor Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. For those who are not regularly here in City Hall, every few weeks we adopt out a dog or a cat as part of our council meeting, and this is our dog adoption day. And so we have so many folks here for Nowruz, but hopefully while you're here, maybe one of you want to adopt the most adorable dog I've seen in a long time. This is Wilfred. Wilfred is a Chihuahua, 2 years old, fully grown, believe it or not. And Wilfred is microchipped and neutered and absolutely adorable. So I hope that one of you, after we're done celebrating Nowruz, celebrates your new dog as well. So you can adopt it right here. And if you're interested, we'll have the dog up front for a couple minutes and we'll have it in the back for a while. But this is the way we save our dogs' lives out of our shelters. Unfortunately, we have too many dogs and cats, so you may be saving this dog's life if you leave here with the most adorable dog you could possibly leave with. And so come and adopt Wilfred, and thank you very much for considering doing that. There you go. There you go. Yeah. It's not a Persian cat, but it could be a Persian dog.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Koretz. So I thank Councilor Alarcon for joining us, Councilor Huizar for joining us. A few more council members to come on down to the floor. Appreciate it very much. Councilor Perry, are we ready? Thank you. For our next presentation, we'll have Councilor from the 9th District, Councilor Jan Perry. I thank Councilor Buscaino for joining us. And Councilor Labange has just entered the chamber. Thank you, Councilor Labange.
They're on the second floor, so they should be here momentarily. They're on their way in now.
For entering the council chambers. Thank you, Avak.
Councilor Barnes has just introduced our own Avak.
I see the captain here.
And Councilor Labange, I want to say you survived the roast. You're back in one piece. It's good to have you
I
back.
want to say good morning, Mr. President, and everyone here at the John Farrar Chambers. Last night, the American Diabetes Association, led by a former staffer from the CLA, now Mr. Burkhoff, had a fundraiser. We raised over $500,000 to fight diabetes, and coming up here in April, there's going to be a Ride for the Cure. We just want everybody to be aware of the diabetes is the #1 accelerant for poor health. So there's much to do. I just want to thank everybody involved and for the very nice things, and that Joe Buscaino has a future in television because he was very good. Thank you so much. And also to our guests to celebrate this, always look at the great ceilings of this grand city hall and the beauty of all the work that was crafted before. And if you have to have time later on in the morning, visit the Tom Bradley Tower and look over the great city that you're part of. Thank you.
I'd like to also welcome from the State Senate, Senator Kevin De Leon. Mr. De Leon, welcome to the chamber.
Everybody,
Let's give a big round of applause. Senator De Leon.
take your visitors back with us. Because it ruins the picture, ruins the camera. Come close. Come. Take your visitor back up. No.
I think Councilor Perry is about ready.
Yep, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and I would like to recognize the tremendous work of Newton Police Division's Police Activity League Youth Crime Prevention Program. Newton PALS is another way for LAPD to become active members in the community. By leveraging education, athletic, and other recreational activities, the PAL program has helped young people in our community to develop strong, positive attitudes towards police officer and law and becoming a police officer. The respect that comes from these activities has helped to develop lasting relationships between officers and young people that represents a mutually beneficial understanding and reinforces responsible values and attitudes. Newton PALS would not be where it is today without the advocacy and the dedication of Captain Rodriguez. His service to PALS through his leadership and passion in the development for young people in our community has been transformative. And I would also like to thank Tammy Santangelo, chairwoman of the PALS Executive Board, for her countless volunteer hours dedicated to the PALS program. Her devotion to youth development and advancement has provided vital support to the PAL program. The work of these two individuals and countless other volunteers, her board is standing with her, has made a difference in changing the attitudes towards law enforcement and creating a much more positive environment for our community. Now, my staff and I are currently working with them to identify a place in our district where we can host the PALS kids because they have grown out of the Newton Station, and I look forward to be able to house them at 54th and Avalon at our new 10-acre wetlands. So with that, I'd like to have Tammy step up to the plate and say a few words about her board members, and then we'll make a special presentation.
First of all, let me thank everybody. I'm surprised this was for George, Captain Rodriguez, and I'm very surprised, honored, thank you, and actually I couldn't do anything without my board. So I'd like to actually thank them. And
Speak into the mic. Say thank you to your board.
thank you to my board.
Do you want to say their names?
Could they introduce themselves?
No, you should say it. Don't be shy.
Sorry. I'd like to thank my board, Margarita Verduzco, who's our president, Sam Pena, our vice president, Isabel Villegas, who is our second vice president, Catherine Landeros, our secretary, and William Kitson, our photographer and board member, Gina Cortez, another board member, Chris Lee, another board member. I'd like to thank all of you guys. I couldn't do it without you. Oh,
That's very sweet. And then, Tammy, I'm going to give you a certificate, but the big surprise is for Captain Rodriguez. Captain, you have brought energy and enthusiasm and heft and depth and substance to your relationships in the community in a manner that was forthright and direct and showed deep caring and compassion for the young people. And for that, I want you to know that you have been appreciated in ways that you don't even know. And not only from the board, but for all the young people whose lives you touched, and from myself, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to say anything? I'm going to give you this in a, we'll do this again in the back.
Yeah.
We're going to go again in the back. Okay. And let's see. Do we have anybody else? Everybody else? All right. Thank you. We're good. All right. So we're done. We're going to go in the back now and take.
Councilman, I just want to say congratulations. The PALS program is such a significant outlet for many of our youth, especially in areas that are limited recreation. The role models that you represent are very, very important to how our youngsters who are learning a different culture, beginning to understand the process, especially the parents who don't speak the language, to have yourselves there, introducing them to the officers, creating that communication relationship in an area where you have violence at levels that many of us do not understand. So I thank you for the PALS, and I thank you, Councilman Perry, for bringing them forward. Congratulations.
Yeah. Mr. Reyes.
Councilman Labange.
Miss Perry and Newton, if you just hold for a second, Captain. I just wanted to rise. Thank you, Miss Perry. Newton has always had a great PALS program, which is very, very important. And I always want to rise because the Police Athletic League is that extra arm into the community, as Mr. Reyes so articulated. But I also like to tell the story that a young man in Lexington, Kentucky, got his bike stolen. And he went to the police station to report that his bike was stolen. And the police officer said, "Hey, don't worry about your bike. We'll try to find it. Go downstairs and get into the Police Athletic League." A young Cassius Clay, now Muhammad Ali, that was his introduction to be the greatest athlete in the world. The Police Athletic League, PALS, Newton, very special. And anytime talking about Newton, I think of the late, great Jimmy Tatro, who was a great commander there for many years. Congratulations, Newton Division. Thank you.
Let's wait to the back. We'll go in the back.
Thank you, Councilor Labange. Colleagues, we'll run through the agenda really fast. And Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alarcon, Buscaino, Englander, Garcetti, Weezer, Caress, Krikorian, Labange, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Rosendahl, Zion, Weston. 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Councilmember Zine moves. Councilmember Perry seconds. Next item.
Committee to resolutions for approval.
Councilmember Weezer moves and Councilmember Krikorian seconds. Next item. If I could direct your attention to the agenda. Madam Clerk, let's run through the agenda.
Items 1 through 3 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Members, any specials? Seeing no specials, let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Items 4 through 6 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes required for consideration.
Okay, without objection, those items are before us. Any cards?
Cards on items 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, we'll hold those items for cards.
That takes council to presentations or items called special.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilmember Weezer. Are we ready?
Good to see you. Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Good to see you. How are you? Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, and colleagues and public. I am honored to join my colleagues in these chambers along with the rest of the city of Los Angeles to recognize and announce the coming of Nowruz, which we all know is the Persian New Year. And I'm very honored to be here taking the role and place of our good friend and former colleague, Tony Cardenas, now Congress member, who for many years presented Nowruz here in these chambers. And he tells a story of how we needed to make sure that the history of our springtime for our Persian friends and brothers and sisters is celebrated here in these chambers, and the importance of that, given how many contributions our Persian brothers and sisters have given to this great city and to this great country. I wanted to acknowledge the Persian community and who's here, and wanted to recognize supporters who are here. Our good friend Jimmy Delshad, former mayor of Beverly Hills, is here. Thank you for joining us once again. Carol Schatz from the Central City Association is here as well, has been a strong supporter. And if you look at the transformation of downtown Los Angeles that now we are recognizing as we're becoming the world-class city that we know we are because of the revitalization of our heart of the city. A lot of that is because of many Persians who are investing in downtown, who never gave up on downtown, who were one of the first to be here in downtown to continue investing in the heart of our city. So I want to thank them for that as well. And we all know that the city couldn't function without our great employees, and we are very fortunate to have with us a number of Persians who work hard each and every day to make sure this city functions. And we have them in all of our departments: ITA, LAWA, DWP, DOT, GSD, DBS, and Public Works. And if I could ask all our Persian brothers and sisters who work in one of these departments and our city employees to please stand up and be recognized. Thank you so much for your work. You know, the most recent figures tells us that there are over 300 Iranian Americans that work in various professional capacities. And in the city of Los Angeles, interestingly, the diversity in their ethnic and religious background is apparent: Baha'i, Jewish, Armenian, and Muslim. And that represents the strength of diversity within the Persian community very well. The majority of the Iranian Americans in the city are engineers with the greatest concentration in public works, the Department of Water and Power, the Department of Transportation, and Building and Safety. And the city of Los Angeles is the largest single non-Iranian employer of Iranian professionals outside of Iran. Many of the Iranian Americans in the city entered civil service with the city and have proudly served this great city and her residents for over 2 decades. Through the Nowruz celebration, the Persian American community brings hundreds of years of rich culture, history, and tradition to the city of Los Angeles. Nowruz proclaims spring as a time of rejuvenation of nature, rekindling of friendships, and bringing about hope for a brighter future for all. It is truly a time of celebration and strengthening of our common resolve to do better and to always support one another. Along with the celebration of Nowruz each year, the Persian American community of Los Angeles reaches out to all of our diverse communities and contributes to forming citywide relationships and bonds that truly makes Los Angeles special and unique. The Persian community continues to contribute immensely to the entire city of Los Angeles through Nowruz and many other ways. May we all be blessed in the coming year with a gift of love and peace, and may all Angelinos find success and prosperity in the Persian New Year. And with that, I want to welcome up to the microphone my good friend and co-sponsor of this year's Nowruz celebration in the city of Los Angeles in these chambers. And he is not only my great friend, but a great seatmate, my policy mate. May I introduce Councilmember Koretz.
Well, thank you, Jose. And I'm happy to see that we're joined by so many of our friends in the Persian community for a celebration of Nowruz, the Persian New Year. Los Angeles is home to the largest concentration of Persians outside of Iran, and a large number of that population is located in the 5th District. 3 years ago, I was thrilled to dedicate the intersection of Westwood Boulevard and Wilkins Avenue as Persian Square in honor of the cultural contributions of the Persian community. Of course, this also created a little bit of confusion since we also have a Pershing Square. But despite that, I think it was worthwhile, and we had a remarkable event with thousands of people who were joined by many elected officials, including myself, at a site that is home to many of the pioneering Persian businesses in the community. The Persian community's courage to raise their families and grow their businesses in Los Angeles has contributed tremendously to the betterment of the city, and we're happy to have the opportunity to celebrate the Persian New Year together. Since the dedication of Persian Square, the community has continued to grow and thrive. The Persian community has contributed many things to the city, including its dynamic culture. Through organizations like the Farhang Foundation, we're able to benefit from the creative and historic works of the Persian people. In October, the Cyrus Cylinder, a clay object with the story of the Persian king Cyrus and his Babylonian conquests inscribed on it, will be making a visit to the Getty Villa, and I encourage Angelinos to visit this unique artifact. We also expect that in a couple of years that Westwood will become the home of a statue symbolic of freedom and the memory of Cyrus. I look forward to continuing the celebration with you at the upcoming Nowruz celebration in Persian Square, and I'm excited to see what the new year will bring for the Persian community and Los Angeles as a whole. Eid Shoma Mubarak. Dustet Daram.
You got to translate. Thank you very much. Another colleague that has helped us celebrate this year, I want to welcome up to the microphone our colleague, Councilmember Krikorian.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, first, colleagues, let me thank Mr. Huizar and Mr. Koretz and the entire Persian community that's here with us today for continuing this great tradition in our council chambers that was begun by our former colleague Tony Cardenas. And I think we all owe Mr. Cardenas a great debt of gratitude for beginning this tradition in our council. And now that he's a member of Congress, he has also initiated Nowruz celebrations in Congress as well. So I think that's a new beginning in Congress as well that we owe him a debt of gratitude for. Springtime is a time of new beginnings in nature, and it's a time that is celebrated in cultures around the world as a time of new beginnings. And that's an important thing for the human condition, I think. We all have successes, we all have disappointments, we all have victories, and we all have failures. But springtime is a time for us to reflect on looking forward and how we can do better, how we can have a new beginning. And especially in the Persian culture, where that celebration of spring marks the beginning of the new year, it's especially dramatic, I think. And even the name Nowruz, a new day, reinforces that concept of new beginnings that all of us cherish. And throughout its history, Iran has offered that as well. For my own brothers and sisters, Armenian brothers and sisters who found refuge in Iran over the centuries from oppression and were welcomed there by their Persian brothers and sisters, and were welcomed as part of that culture. That was a new beginning for them. And for many of them who settled here in Los Angeles at the time of the Iranian Revolution, along with so many other Persian immigrants who came at that time, that was a new beginning as well. And settling in Los Angeles was a new day. And some of my own team, my field deputy, Nikki Azari, my chief of staff, Irina Brenosian, my former chief of staff, Adrien Nazarian, now assembly member Adrien Nazarian, all were born in Iran, all came here with their families to create a new day, and by doing that, they helped to create a new Los Angeles. And this community continues to create a new Los Angeles with all of its tremendous contributions to our culture every day. So with that, I just want to thank all of you who are here today for what you contribute to Los Angeles, what you have contributed to Los Angeles, what you will continue to contribute to our culture, to our city. Thank you. Happy Nowruz.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Krikorian. And with us today to join us from the state capitol is our good friend, Senator Kevin De Leon, who's been a friend of the Persian community, and he's here to share a few words with us. Senator.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Councilmember Jose Huizar. I want to thank my colleague, too, Councilmember and former Assemblymember Koretz, as well as my good friend, Paul Krikorian, too, and to my colleagues here. Good morning to each and every one of you. I just, on behalf of the State Capitol, the California State Senate, I wanted to express and convey my deepest appreciation to the City Council of Los Angeles for their recognition, for the respect that they've endowed the Persian community here in the city of Los Angeles. Nowruz is a very special day for Persian communities because obviously it doesn't just encompass those who originate from Iran, but up to 13 other nations in another part of the world. And the Persian community here in Los Angeles has added to the beautiful mosaic, the rich tapestry that is the city of Los Angeles, the different ethnic cultures that we have, not just in the Western Hemisphere, but throughout the world. The Persian community has added much to who we are as Angelinos. And I know jokingly some folks in the Persian community refer to Los Angeles as Tehrangeles, because we have the largest concentration of Persians, not just out of London or Paris, France, but actually out of Iran and other parts of the world. And I liked very much what my good colleague Paul Krikorian just mentioned, because I mentioned a few members of his staff who were born in Iran. And it is the quintessential American story, but more so it is the quintessential California story of someone who can come across another part of the world, travel because of the political diaspora, leaving one nation and coming to another nation because of political strife, and actually have someone work themselves up the ranks and be part of the California State Legislature, as Adrien Nazarian is today. And it is a quintessential American story, California story. But I want to thank Councilmember Huizar, each and every one of you, my colleagues and my friends, for the recognition and following, I should say, the lead of this great city council body. What we're going to do starting in 2014 in the California State Senate, the 8th largest economy in the entire world, is we're going to celebrate the Persian community as well in the state capitol. We're going to have a Nowruz, celebration in Sacramento, and then we're going to follow the lead of each and every one of you. So with that, thank you very much. Thank you.
What a great announcement, Senator, and thank you for your leadership and for now leading the effort, as did Councilmember Cardenas sit here. Now we will have the celebration up in our state capitol. That's very good news. And as was mentioned by several speakers, we know how much the Persian community has contributed to this city, to this state, and to this country. And the next person that I will introduce, you'll see how much we've contributed. They are in all sectors of society here in the United States, and I would like to bring up Judge Shala Sabet. She was born in Tehran and received her Bachelor's of Arts in 1969 from Tehran University. In 1969, she moved to the United States and obtained a Master's in Public Administration from UCLA in 1973. I know Mr. Koretz would say, go Bruins with that. In 1977, she was awarded a PhD from Claremont Graduate University with a double major in Public Administration and Political Science. And in 1985, she received her Jurisprudence Doctorate from Southwestern University School of Law. In 1985, was admitted to the California State Bar later that year. She became a Deputy District Attorney with the San Bernardino County and served in that capacity until 1993. And in 1993, Governor Pete Wilson appointed her to the bench as a municipal court judge. In 1997, Governor Wilson elevated her to the state superior court. She received the Outstanding Victim Witness Advocacy Award. She has also been named the 1991 Person of the Year by the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office, and also by the California State Legislature selected her as the 1994 Women of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Judge Shala Sabet.
Thank you. It's my distinct pleasure to be here today acknowledging and celebrating the Iranian New Year. On behalf of the Iranian American community, I wish each and every one of you a happy, healthy, and peaceful year. As a representative of the Iranian American community that has immigrated to this country during the last 50 years, I stand before you with great pride. We Iranian Americans comprise a fraction of the many diverse groups of people who live here. Yet in such a short time we have been here, we have contributed greatly to the community at large. Iranian Americans are one of the most educated ethnic groups in the United States. We have made major contributions in the fields of science, technology, academic pursuits, medicine, the arts, and culture. We are proud of these accomplishments, but our pride in those accomplishments pale in comparison with our pride in our New Year. Iranian or Persian New Year began about 15,000 years ago when humans became aware of the rhythmic seasonal changes in nature. Iranian New Year, or Nowruz, has no connection or affiliation with any religious or political or social institutions. It occurs on vernal equinox, the first day of spring, and celebrates the arrival of the most vibrant season of the four seasons. It's about rebirth, rejuvenation, and reconciliation. Simply said, it's an homage to Mother Nature and its fecundity. Persian New Year is a celebration of life itself. This non-religious, non-political nature of Persian New Year invites inclusion rather than exclusion. It allows all human beings, regardless of their race, ethnicity, religious beliefs, and political persuasions, to join in and be counted as an equal member of the human race. Iranian New Year is an affirmation of humanity's ability to be one and live in peace and harmony. It enables us to delve into our deepest emotions of love, humanity, and respect for others, especially elders, and look beyond what divides and separates us from one another. Persian New Year reminds us once a year that everything that separates us is superficial and skin deep. It celebrates the fact that the most fundamental element of our unity is our common experience of having the privilege of living on this planet. It enables us to rejoice and cherish the nature and life itself. I wish you the happiest and the healthiest New Year, and I thank you for supporting and celebrating our New Year's with us for the past 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Weezer, we have several folks on the queue who would like to continue presenting, or should we go to the queue? It's up to you.
We have a few more speakers, a couple of more speakers, and
Okay.
then if we could then go to our colleagues, if that's okay with you, Mr.
That's
President. Okay, and next, Council President and colleagues, I'd like to introduce Mr. Larry Adamson, who is with the Midnight Mission. He's been there for over 15 years, and as you know, the Midnight Mission provides services to those in need, and this is the second year that the Midnight Mission partners up with the festivities here at City Hall celebrating Nowruz. Please welcome Larry Adamson from the Midnight Mission. Larry?
Mr. President, members of the Council, the judge's comments actually set the tone for what I'm about to say. Last Friday, this community joined together with us at the Midnight Mission to bring joy, smile, music, and festive behavior to an area of our city that is most in need, the Skid Row district of Los Angeles. This community has reached out and supported the Midnight Mission in bringing the spirits of those that are most in need in this city to a level of festive behavior. They don't just stop at coming once a year and supporting the Midnight Mission at a festival, although I have to tell you that we didn't see many of you there, and I expect you there next year. I absolutely demand that you not go to Washington, D.C. and come to Skid Row with all of us. But I do want to tell you that they serve on my board of directors. They run my educational center at my facility. They are and have been the greatest supporters in making sure that those that are most in need deserve and receive the support of all of us here in Los Angeles. They have set a great example for all of us to follow. I thank them for all of the work that they have done to support those less fortunate here in Los Angeles. And I conclude by saying to them that this festival, these 13 days have been wonderful, continue to be wonderful. We thank you for reaching out and giving your hand of support to those that need it the most. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, and again, thank you very much that these festivities of Nowruz, they now contribute food and other necessary items to the Midnight Mission. I want to thank the Persian community for doing that at this time as well. And next, I'd like to introduce the chair of the Nowruz Committee festivities. He needs no introduction, Michael Delajani. Michael?
Thank you, Councilman Hizor. Mr. President, honorable council members, thank you for the time, the opportunity, and your continuous support throughout all these years. As the chairman of Nowruz Celebration Foundation and as a member of the Persian American community of Los Angeles, I would like to appreciate the support and recognition that our community enjoys in the great city of Los Angeles. The tradition of celebrating our cultural New Year in the City Hall started 10 years ago by initiation of certain community leaders, such as my late father, as well as the support of our great friend, now Congressman Tony Cardenas. But more importantly, because of you welcoming our community in this magnificent house of democracy, and for that we are sincerely grateful to you all. We are sure that with support of the members of the City Council, this event will continue at the City Hall and even further grows across the street in the newly built Grand Park as a community event for downtown area for many years to come. Again, thank you and Happy Nowruz to you all and your loved ones.
Mr. Delajani. Mr. Delajani, I'd like to take a moment. It might be one of the last times I get to do this in public, but Westlake, Center City West, the anchors of that side of the freeway has grown, has developed because of your heart in looking at the community, not only as an investor, but also a person who thinks of people and growing communities in a healthy way. So I thank you and your family for their stamina and persistence in making sure we do what's right for our community. So thank you, Mr. Delajani, to you and your family.
Thank you, Councilman Reyes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Delajani, for your family's contributions as well to the historic theater district in all of downtown. And next, our last and certainly not least speaker is Mr. Poria Abbasi. Many of you know him well here. He served as our CEO of the Los Angeles Convention Center. He's not only a very amiable guy, but also a great leader. He achieved unprecedented results, and these results were unmatched anywhere in the nation, considering what he did at his leadership with the Convention Center. He is now the Senior Vice President and Regional Director for Phoenix House, which he joined in June 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, no stranger to these chambers, Mr. Poria Abbasi.
Good morning, honorable members of City Council, dear friends. Nowruz 2013 celebrates a decade of your steadfast support in allowing us to share the most important and most benevolent symbol of our heritage, Nowruz, in these magnificent chambers. As other cities across the nation have joined Los Angeles in recognizing Nowruz and its message of peace, love, and hope, and as just last week we were blessed with celebrating Nowruz in U.S. Congress, along with Congressman Cardenas, we'll never forget that this sense of pride in diversity, this genuine embracing of cultures, and this conviction that is specifically our differences that makes us stronger, after all, is uniquely Los Angeles. This is why we call this city home, and this is exactly why we love LA. So today, in celebration of a decade of Nowruz at City Hall and recognition of the Iranian Americans in City Hall, we extend our appreciation to each one of you as you truly represent the greatest city on earth. At the beginning of the new year, may you all be blessed with health, joy, love, and peace, and may you always have the strength to make a difference for good. Nowruz Mubarak. With the permission of the Honorable Council President, I would like to extend a New Year greeting in Farsi. از جانب شهر و شهروندان شهر لس آنجلس نوروز باستانی و سال نو را به تمامی مردمان به ویژه پارسیان تبریک گفته امید سالی مملو از عشق، صلح و سلامتی و صفا را برای همگان داریم. نوروزتان پیروز. Thank you.
Mr. President, as I present a resolution to the committee thanking them for bringing this beautiful event to these chambers, for organizing today's event, there's a reception in the Rotunda right after this where everyone's invited. I want to remind everyone that there are Nowruz celebrations throughout the city. I want to invite everyone to this Sunday, March 24th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be an event between Ohio and Wilking. And also, as Mr. Delajani mentioned, we are looking into the possibility of extending those celebrations here to our very own Grant Park in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, beautiful, which will hopefully happen next year. And with that, let me...
We do have several members on the queue, and let's hear from our Councilmember Zine. Councilmember Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good day to all of you that are here in City Council chambers. The beautiful flowers, the beautiful arrangements, it's springtime and we celebrate. And I have that special word, Saleh No Mubarak. And this chamber is open to the people of this great city of Los Angeles, City of the Angels. And what we do is we bring people together to help encourage and motivate. And each and every one of us in this chamber is living the American dream. Wherever you're from, you're living the American dream, and that's a blessing that we all share together. Jimmy, the former mayor from Beverly Hills, a very, very good friend, the first in the history of Beverly Hills, basically the history of this part of California, to assume that office in politics. Those glass ceilings have been broken, and you helped break that, Jimmy. with all of you that are in the business community, Henry from downtown and all the people, Carol Schatz, who's turned downtown into a thriving economic engine. To all of you, it's a blessing. To the Delajani family that's been involved in it for so many years, this is what it's about. And it reminds me of when Tony Cardenas was approached to say the Persian community needs a home and they need to be recognized. And it's been mentioned, he carried it forward. And the tradition is continuing with what we see today, Jose Huizar, Mr. Kokori, and Mr. Koretz, to show our respect, our admiration for what you folks have added to this great community. So my congratulations. It's a beautiful time of the year, beautiful flowers, beautiful celebration, and Nose Roots is going to be celebrated every year bigger and bigger and bigger. So to all of you, it's a blessing that we're here, that we get to celebrate this wonderful, wonderful holiday, this wonderful New Year. So God bless you all, and many, many happy days for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Perry. Councilmember Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have come to have such a deep appreciation for the observance of Nowruz here in the council chamber, and to be able to celebrate in people's homes, to understand the depth and the breadth and the diversity of the Iranian community. I think it's important. It's important to tell the story. I think it's important to recognize the milestones that this community has crossed, and also the contributions. And just as I look at the folks who are assembled here, I'm reminded of any number of stories. Of course, Mayor Delshad, the first, the one, and the only, and the work of the Farhang Foundation, the outreach to the Midnight Mission, so selflessly and willingly to be able to bring a new energy and a new enthusiasm to dealing with the issues of homelessness, the yearly installation dinners for the Bar Association, to be able to hear excellent, top-notch speakers, and to see the growth of the community within the legal community, and to see the bridge between generations and the willingness to share wisdom. And of course, for me, the recognition that the Iranian community has rebuilt this city, not only with its energy, its focus, its investment, and the families who are of great note, who have transformed the skyline, changed the trajectory of downtown Los Angeles forever, and contributed greatly to the recovery of our own economy. And so for that, if that isn't rebirth and renewal, I don't know what is. So happy Nowruz.
Councilmember Rosendahl.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I walked in here with a big smile, and I haven't been able to get rid of the smile since I walked in here this morning. Margaret Hashemnejad used to always stand next to me. Margaret worked for me for 17 years. Her husband, Ali Hashemnejad, Dr. Ali Hashemnejad, goes back to Iran every year and does public service work by helping people. Pariya Abbasi and I are buds. When he took that convention center and turned it around, he came to visit me when everybody had me dead by November the 6th with cancer, right? And he's there telling me how great I am and all this. I said, look, forget all that. You're working now at Phoenix House, is that right? And he said, yes. Well, I got a heroin addict who's been living in the bushes. Help him. It's 130 days later. This young man, after 8 years of being a heroin addict, stealing from me, his parents, and everybody else, he's been on the road to recovery. He's sitting in one of your homes next to East LA College right now, finishing up his degree, thanks to you. And the difference you're making is so significant. As much as the convention center is important, Carol Schatz, I want to develop downtown too. I want a team, an NFL team in the hand. Okay? We don't have it yet. But I'm going to tell you, the Iranian community stays engaged in every issue. Okay? You know, we got a guy who's just retiring now from transportation. Everybody knows him in this council. His name is Yadi Hashmi. And this guy is now helping me in a volunteer way on some of the issues we're doing. So what I can say from the heart is that the connection between us has only gotten stronger. in the years. Thank you for the lovely flowers. Thank you for the number 7 in terms of the breakfast food, because I've been a little concerned. I've been wanting to give a half a dozen eggs to somebody because I have chickens, but when I look at the 7 issues, they don't say eggs on it as one of the 7 things to eat. So you're going to have to tell me if you want these half a dozen or not based on the 7 things that are on the list. But just to conclude, look, let health, peace, prosperity, and good fortune prevail on earth for all of humankind. Thank you. Bless you. And if you want the eggs, I'll bring them over to you. I don't know. Do you want them? You want them? Okay, I'm bringing them over.
Thank you, Councilor. As he delivers his eggs, thank you very much, Councilor Labange.
Sorry for the little interruption.
That's fine.
God bless you all.
God bless you.
Love you.
Mr. President, let's give Bill Rosendahl a real big hand right there. He truly loves people, as we all do. This is a very important step in advancement. We mentioned Congressman Cardenas and his efforts. There's nothing like opening the doors. There's nothing like opening the doors at City Hall. Mayor Tom Bradley did that in 1973. Mayor Tom Bradley's legacy, which is named on this tower, is so important. But it also gave life to other opportunities as time progressed. I just wanted to stand. I don't want to pick favorites, but Vahid Sapir, some of you know him, came to go to USC in 1965, was parking cars at Orange and Hollywood Boulevard when a guy named Bill Hertz, who worked for Sid Grauman, said, come and Slim's retiring. Slim was about as tall as Michael Delajani. Slim was a big cowboy. He ran a tour business. And now today, an immigrant from Tehran, Vahid Sapir, is the #1 tour operator in the western United States, Starline Tours, who bought little Slim's Lincoln to start the tour business. That's a success story that is transforming. And that bus comes downtown, Mr. Weezar, and people enjoy it, and it brings tourists to learn about it. But a guy from Tehran who went to USC took the opportunity and made it, and so many of you have. That's the great thing about the City of Angels. I do want to repeat that our Special Deputy Catalin Ivak told me, just to remind you, we do have a chore ahead. About 4 years ago, we got a letter, Mr. President, from the State Department to try to open up our relationships again with Tehran, which is a sister city since 1979. It will happen again, and together we'll lead that effort to open up the city-sister relationship when the time is right. So let's not forget our friends in Tehran, who were a sister city, because there's nothing like a sister. I got all brothers in my family, but there's nothing like a sister, and there's nothing like some nice sisters as a sister city relationship. Thank you, Mr. Weezar, Mr. Kokoyan, and Mr. Koretz. Your vocabulary is so beautiful, the way you pronounce that greeting. I say Happy New Year. Thank you for the beautiful flowers. Good day.
Thank you, Councilor Labange. I just want to say thank you for bringing back this tradition. You look at the context of what we are doing today. This great country, the United States of America, is just over 237 years old. This tradition goes back 15,000 years. So when we look at what we brought to this chamber and celebrating to the whole world in this beautiful region we call Southern California, 15,000 years is what we are echoing as we inform our youngsters of the great traditions and cultures that is represented here in this city. So thank you, Councilor Weezar. Thank you, all of you who have made such a great, great impact in Los Angeles. Councilor Weezar.
President, and it's a great honor for me personally to be able to stand up here today and fill in the shoes of my good friend Congressmember Tony Cardenas, not only because when I walk down the hallways people call me Tony Cardenas, they confuse us sometimes, but also because I know I've met a lot of great friends in the Persian community throughout the years, and as I got to know the Delajani family, my good friend Izzat Delajani and others who are standing here today, and I learned about the history, and to think that many of these families who came to Los Angeles came to this country and to this city without nothing, and to rebuild from that. It speaks to their perseverance and their character as who they are as a people. And to see now that we know in America, education opens doors. That is a ticket to a better life in this country, and they are now one of the most highly educated immigration communities in this country, speaks to who they are as a people. Thank you for your contributions. Happy New Year, Happy Nowruz, and on behalf of the City Council, Councilmember Koretz and Krikorian, I'd like to present this to the committee who helped us organize these Nowruz events here, Hamid Bedad and the other members, Mr. Delajani. Thank you so much, and congratulations, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, this was totally unexpected. I usually, as you all know me, stay in the back room, but I appreciate all these years and all the support that you have given me. I serve in the great city of LA 17, 18 years, and it's just homecoming coming back here in front of you. I really want to appreciate, as far as going back to 1989, when you gave me an opportunity to work for this great city, when it's still Mayor Tom Bradley was in the office, and then I got to work for Mayor Reardon and Mayor Hahn and Mayor Villaraigosa. So for me, I know we all talk about the American dream, but for me, I live it every day that I get up. So I don't need to theorize it. I really practically live an American dream. As I was said, working for 3 administrations, while I wasn't given even an opportunity to work for one back home. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a great city employee. This was the driving force under Mr. Reardon's administration to get adaptive reuse, which transformed downtown. I see Carol Schatz there with approval, and the work of Miss Perry, which she did. Congratulations. This is a great leader right there. Good job, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really humble. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's beautiful.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay, let's bring the microphone down.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Wonderful.
Welcome you all to the celebrations in the rotunda in the back room. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Beautiful ceremony.
All right.
Okay, we do have one more presentation from Councilman Bill Rosendahl.
I got a brief speech.
Yeah.
90 seconds.
Yeah, get everybody behind you.
Everyone get behind me. Stewart. Come on, Stewart. Yeah.
Okay, Councilman Rosendahl.
As we just have finished the incredible Persian New Year, as people are leaving the room, we also want to celebrate groups that are making a huge difference, just like the Persian community has been doing over the years. Standing next to me is Harry Bay. Let me tell you about Harry. Harry's been at it for like 45 years. Jan Perry just waved at him. She knows him for sure. Gang intervention work. What do we want to do with our young people? We want to give them positive experiences. We want to give them something that they can think about and get them out of gangs. We spent a lot of time talking about that in the council. The reality right here, right now, is we are with Harry, who's been doing this for many years. We also want to give the project itself, called Project Gangs, Gang Actors Needing God's Support, as well. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Harry for a quick minute to introduce who's here and to talk about his incredible program.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Rosenthal and members of the City Council. I'd like to introduce some of my volunteers who have been with me for 45 years down to a past year. Nico Hill is a cage fighter. He did 49 motion pictures. There's only one person on the streets that can equal me, and you're looking at him. He's trained with his hands to kill with his hands and feet.
Beautiful.
Linda Ortiz, who's helped me immensely. She's Puerto Rican. She's one of my key females who's helped and will be on my staff. Richard Holland, who works with the homeless with me every day, 7 days a week on the streets of L.A., feeding homeless people. Don Vina, he's a psychologist. He has offices in San Gabriel helping Vietnam veterans and veterans on Skid Row and other and former gang members get the help they need to overcome their addictions from alcohol, tobacco, drugs, sex, pornography, etc. So this guy's a +1.5. Here I have Lewis Weaver, been with me 40 some odd years. He's my oldest guy, Native American Indian. And he's been with me, and he's helped me immensely. He has his own. He's trained inner city kids to work with fire extinguishers. He owns Indian Chief Fire Extinguishers Company, and he trains inner city kids and helps them to get out of gangs and to get off of welfare and to get a job. This is what this man's all about and what we've been about. I have Pastor Carlos. Now, this is really going to touch him. He's a former gang member who turned his life around, whom I met over 25 years ago. Awesome. He's now a pastor for how many years now?
For 10 years.
For 10 years, and he's a pastor in Baldwin Park with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm so proud of this man. If you'd have seen where he was and where he came to now, he's an asset. God bless him, and thank you, Carlos.
Thank you.
Yeah. I got my good friend Robert Rico, who's been with me about 20 years or so, yeah. And Robert was a businessman who liked what I did, helped with homeless, helped with gangsters, hired them, gave them jobs where he worked for a motion picture company, and he came on the streets with me 7 days a week. I love this man. He talks the talk, and he's a devout Christian. And then last, this is Stuart Walker. He was in charge of the African American region for the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He had a church on 54th Street near Normandy. He's also been very active in every African American. He has a church in Patton. Now he's out in Lancaster. This man has done immense work for me, pastoring the young kids who also need work in the African American areas that I worked in, through South Central to Watts, etc. Pastor Stuart Walker, and he also had his church in Chief Park's area.
Okay, great. Now let me pass these out. Let's put both of them here for a photo op, okay?
Yes, Councilman Rosendahl, you do have a couple of members on the queue.
Great.
Councilman Alarcon.
Over here.
Followed by Councilman Buscaino.
Oh, I'm sorry, you called me. I've actually known Harry Bay for over 30 years. When I was working for Mayor Bradley as his in the Criminal Justice Planning Office, working on gang intervention programs. Harry was very active back then, and he continues to be. And I just wanted to stand and say thank you to Harry for staying the course, and for, in a unique and with his unique personality as well as his unique methods, he has tried to deal with issues of transforming gang members into productive members of our society for all of these years. Some people change course and do other things. Harry has always been consistent. That has been his mission, and that is what he has been doing. I think when I mentioned that he does it in a unique way, I think Harry recognizes that it takes uniqueness sometimes to reach people, to get them to change, but whatever it takes, the effort is worth it, and that's what he has demonstrated over the years. So Harry, I want to say thank you for staying the course. Thank you for being constant. Thank you for being a true human being who doesn't deviate from your heart, doesn't deviate from your mission. And although we have differences on political issues, we have never had differences of opinion on the issue of gang intervention and the tremendous resources that interventionists bring to help our police department do what it has to do. So congratulations. Thank you so much for your work. Continued success. God bless you.
Richard, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you as a friend. Thick and thin, up and down, in and out, you will always be my friend. I don't care what anyone says. You're a fine councilman, you're a fine state senator, and you did your job and you did it well. I don't care what anyone says. I love you.
We have no idea what he's talking about.
Thank you. Councilman Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. President. Harry, I've never met you, but let me say this. I love you. You are, and your team behind you, are the angels in the city of angels. In a time where we need to work with gang interventionists across the city, and now the program serves as a national model in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department. I personally had an opportunity to work with our gang intervention workers across the city, specifically the Harbor area. But I found myself as a police officer praying with the people that I arrested. People, gang members, drug addicts, alcoholics, and making it clear to them that you have made a mistake, but let's move forward and fix it. And we need that faith-based community to help. And you've surrounded yourself with your commitment and your compassion with not only the former addicts and former gang members, but also, most importantly, the faith-based organizations across our city. So I want to stand and say thank you, sir, and thank you to your team behind you. God bless you, and thank you, Bill, for bringing them here before us.
Sure. But, no. And I want to say this to you, Papa Joe, because the camera did go in beyond you, and they see a young lady next to you and a young boy, your daughter and your son. Just so that people who are watching you talk, they see this young lady just kind of easing towards you. That's your daughter. So thank you for bringing your daughter and son to see this experience as well.
Thank you. That concludes everyone in the speaker queue.
Okay, we want to thank everybody. We're going to do some photos here right now. And God bless you for making a huge difference in everybody's lives.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Let's do this. Hold them and then grab your fingers as many as you can. As Tom Labonte would say, it's all about getting the photo up.
As Councilman Rosendahl goes to the agenda, we do have several items that were called special. Madam Clerk.
Item 4, call special for cards.
Okay, item 4 for cards, we have Arnold Sachs. Please come on up. Arnold Sachs, if you're here, please come on up. I don't see Arnold Sachs. Let's move to Juan Dollhouse Dude. Is Dollhouse Dude here? John Walsh and Oscar Williams. Please come up towards the microphone. Juan Dollhouse Dude, John Walsh, and Oscar Williams.
Wow, all this culture, all this beautiful police events, all this beautiful stuff, but everybody's homeless. Boom. What a stupid world. Okay, resolution, removing the property, same old thing. The city taking care of the people. The people don't need to be taken care of by the city. The people provide everything for the city, and the city dedicates itself to taking everybody's properties away. See? Resolution removing property from the rent escrow. Oh, I see. You have to take care of the landlords. Well, we need to get rid of landlords altogether. We need to have a society where nobody has a landlord. We don't need that. When you understand that, we won't even need a city council to be taking care of the people that can take care of themselves. Excuse me, I'm going to the fundamentals. If you don't have landlords, you don't have landlord-tenant relations. You don't have City Hall taking care of all the little people that cannot take care of themselves. We do not need the government. We need government by the people. That's what we need. Government by the people, for the people, etc. You heard it a million times, but you don't get it. The Constitution tells you everything. We do not need extra government.
I need you to focus on that. Thank you very much. Next. Mr. Williams.
I'm Oscar Williams. It's going to be a tough act to follow because I'm a landlord and a landowner. But the question I have today, City Council, is with the REAP program. The City of Los Angeles has a program where they, it's developed really to help tenants resolve issues with landlords, where they go out and they will assist tenants in getting things fixed. In my particular case, I have I'm not a wealthy landlord. I just had a request from the city to have a water heater moved. I didn't have the money to actually get the water heater moved right away, so I got put into the REAP program, where I stayed for almost 8 months. During the process of going through this, the city holds your rents, so I have actually no income to actually pay my mortgage. So I'm actually losing my property because of this program. And I wanted to find out from the City Council, will they consider changing this program in terms of allowing landlords to be able to access money? Because I have almost $12,000 in the city account. Now, my property is going to be removed today, but I won't be able to get the money for another 30 days. So I want to find out, can someone at the City Council help me and assist me in getting my money back from the city so I can pay the bank?
What district is your property?
It's actually in Herb Wesson's. I called his office, and he had someone call me back, but we've been playing phone tag, and I can get...
Perhaps we can get Councilmember Wesson's staff to speak to you directly.
Is anyone here from Councilman Wesson's staff?
Yes, if you don't mind, just over to the side, and we'll get someone to you.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Thank you, sir. Mr. Walsh?
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org and at jwalsh.wordpress.com. I want to compliment you. You do an excellent job. I wish you'd teach Herb how to run a meeting. I'm sorry you'll be leaving. There are only 5 people in their seat out of 15. And I do think this is not a fit environment for a child. And if you can't pay for child care, Buscaino.
Mr. President, he's not talking about this item.
In this room. It's bad environment.
He is not talking about this item.
HollywoodHighlands.org. Garcetti is in New York fundraising.
Sir, please, you are now disrupting the meeting. Thank you. Dollhouse Dude, you already spoke? Okay, so let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Next item, please.
Item 5, call special for cards.
Okay, Arnold Sachs, here for item 5. Arnold Sachs, I don't see him. We move on. Dollhouse Dude on item 5, then John Walsh.
My name is Juan Alcalá, and I am a colonel in an army of homeless people. A colonel. Can you imagine?
Mr. President, he's not talking about this item.
My name.
Sir, I need you to focus on the item, please. Otherwise, you'll be
title.
disrupting the meeting.
Okay. Administrative exemption and communication from the Board of the Airport Commission relative to respond Fourth Amendment to the contract with the Sagai Law Group. Why do we have lawyers involved in everything? Do we need lawyers involved in everything?
Sir, it's about legal services for the airport. Please comment on the item.
That's what I'm saying. Do we really need lawyers for everything? Or can the people actually understand the laws that we create? Why do we need lawyers to tell us what the laws that we make? This has to do with the airport, right? We're all airports. But do we really need lawyers, city attorney? I don't think so.
Mr. John Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. For the record, there are 5 people sitting in their chairs. I'm not planning the child in Mr. Engel in their seat.
Please focus on the item.
Well, you put children sitting in city council seats.
Legal services.
At least you're not snotty about it, the way Herb is. HollywoodHighlands.org. This has to do with a company called Sohagi Law Group. Does this company have connections to the mayor? Was this company at the roast yesterday? And incidentally, you see, the rumors were wrong. I was not arrested, and I'm not in the Beverly Hills jail, as the mayor said. He tried to have me arrested, and Carmen Trutanish saved me.
Please.
You'll hear about that on the
Legal
public
services
comment.
on the airport.
HollywoodHighlands.org.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing no one else on the queue, let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay.
Item 6, call special for cards.
Okay. Item 6. Mr. Walsh, item 6. Mr. Sachs, I don't see Mr. Sachs in the room. And Dalhouse Dude.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or at jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. This concerns parcel maps. This concerns Casio Street lying westerly of LA Cienega Boulevard. This is a trade, commerce, and tourism map, parcel map. We 100% approve this. See, I can talk on topic if I feel like it.
Thank you. Next item, Mr. Dalhouse Dude, on the parcel map.
Yeah, the parcel map looks like it's dotted by a bunch of homeless people. If you look at the map...
Sir, please focus on the item, otherwise you're disrupting the meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just see homeless people everywhere. I figured they put them on
thank
the
you,
map.
sir. Thank you very much. Okay, see no other cards on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Madam Clerk, next item.
Mr. President, that takes council to general public comment.
Okay, general public comments. Arnold Sachs, I don't see him in the audience. James Johnson, are you here? James Johnson. Please come to the microphone. Jacob Miller. James Johnson, Jacob Miller. Ann Jew. Please come to the microphone and give us your name.
Hello, my name is Jacob Miller. I work for Department of Animal Services for the last 11 years. I'd like to start by thanking Councilmember Koretz for introducing the motion and Zine for coming out to our vigil the other day in support of not eliminating the graveyard shift from the Animal Services Department. On the grave shift, we do a rolling cleanup for the entire night. We ensure that the animals are comfortable and well cared for. We accept animals into the shelter. We get injured pets off to emergency care. We take in sick, unwanted, and lost pets all night. If we were not there, the animals would be dumped, tied up, or left for dead in our front lot or at our front door. These animals will more than likely end up on the street and hit by cars, or those cars might swerve out of the way and hit a pedestrian. Without the staff on the grave shift, animals will get into fights, get hurt, and die from their injuries. We do an awesome job. We do a fine job, as is. We could always use more, but we are doing a fine job with the staff that we have. We have been for well over a decade now. We are the best in the world. We are Los Angeles Animal Services. We are a model for the world. Eliminating the shift will not solve any problems. It will make them worse and create new ones. Please do the right thing and not allow this to happen to our animals. Ask our general manager the hard questions, because she's going to try and twist it one way or another. But the fact remains, you need to have staff on the graveyard shift to care for these animals so they're not sitting in their poop for 6 hours, so flies and disease aren't breeding, so the poop doesn't sit on the floor and sink into every crack and crevice and split that concrete and make people come in the morning and say, ooh, look at all these flies. This place smells. They're not going to want to come to the shelter. And when we have traffic down, adoptions don't happen. And when we don't have adoptions, we have more euthanasia. This is something that the city, the taxpayers do not want, and it's borderline criminal. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Jacob Miller. Okay. We have Ann Joe.
My name is Ann Job. Although I'm a member of the Sylmar Neighborhood Council Board, I'm here only on my own behalf. Having said that, now that I've been elected to something, I know how I feel responsible for my stakeholders, and so I appreciate how you must feel equally responsible to your stakeholders. Every one of you is every one of us is represented by one of you that's here today, and I want to thank my Councilman Alarcon for being here. And I also want to comment about how inspiring it was to be in the audience hearing us talk of Iran and honoring the people who are involved in gang intervention. It's good for us to get to know that you do that sort of thing. I do want to speak to the shelter issue. Somewhere along the way in history, humans decided to bring dogs into our lives. And in so doing, we took a 24/7 responsibility for their welfare. Probably most of us here, including those of you in front of me, have dogs, and possibly many of your dogs are from rescues. I really can't even imagine what the tasks are like of the people who work at our shelters. But there's one thing I do know. Their tasks do not end at midnight. Our shelters care for animals, and our shelter cares for animals and gives them love until someone comes along to adopt them. The people's response to the mayor's budget survey made it clear. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can
Yes,
I finish
please
that?
finish your sentence.
The people's response to the mayor's budget made it clear that we care about animal care. It was the only item that the people voted to increase, not decrease or hold static.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker, Maria Conchita Alonso. Maria Conchita Alonso, are you here? Okay. Damon Address.
Good morning. My name is Damon Andres. I'm with LA Animal Rescue and Dr. Doghouse Bully Rescue. And I'm basically here just to support what Jacob is saying, what Ann is saying, that these dogs, these cats, they need us to be their voice. And shutting down the night shift, I believe that it's just wrong. is very wrong. These dogs are just going to be dumped. These cats are just going to be dumped without someone to be there to take them in. And I'm just here to support that and to let everyone know that we have lots of people behind us. And that's it. Thank you.
Carolina Shapiro.
Good morning. My name is Carolina Shapiro, and I'm a volunteer for Shelters and Rescues. And I would like to ask you to allow the animal technicians to continue taking care and looking after all the unfortunate dogs and animals in our LA County shelters. Those poor animals already went through so much abuse and neglect most of the time when they find themselves in the shelter that it's just not fair and cruel to them to be just left alone for nobody to pick them up. Myself, actually, I witnessed on Wednesday when I went for the candlelight silent protest outside of the East Valley shelter. At 9 p.m., somebody actually dropped off the Yorkie. If there would be nobody in the shelter, this poor dog would be left there alone. And like someone before, Jacob said before me, the dog could be killed by a car, somebody could kidnap the dog, or worse things could happen. At that night, there were still animal shelters staff, and they could take care of it. And it came to my knowledge that usually during the night there's only 2 employees in the shelter, so I don't really see the point in budget cuts that the security guards would actually save for the shelter for the LA County, because the security guards are not really trained to take care of the animals, and they will not know how to properly care for them. So there will be lots of animals that will be dying. There's lots of animals that give birth in the shelters during the night. There will not be proper care. There will be not proper care for the animals that need medication. And some animals start fighting during the night, and that will not be addressed as well. So I do ask you not to pass this regulation and let the animal shelter technicians keep working. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is John Walsh. Mr. Walsh. And then Dollhouse Dude after Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org and at jwalshconfidential.wordpress.com. That's what the new website looks like, the extreme website. I don't think this is a fit environment for children. I consider it child abuse to be here. As you know, the word is out that I was arrested at LaBonge's roast. But you don't know actually what happened. 2 Beverly Hills cops, and I'm all in favor of gay cops. I understand they're lovers. Hollywood, hey, good. Let me tell you, they were going to send a 70-year-old Jew to the Beverly Hills jail. In the history of Beverly Hills, there's never been a 70-year-old Jew like me with an Irish name in the Beverly Hills police in their jail. So what happens is, you know, these big guys, they seem to have hard-ons, these cops, and they got me out there. They're about to put the handcuffs on me, and who's walking into the Beverly Hills? This is outside, not in front. It's Carmen Trutanich. He says hello to me. I turn and say, these cops are about to arrest me. The 2 cops back away and disappear. They were afraid of Carmen Trutanich. I'm telling you right now, Carmen Trutanich is a man. He knew that what was going on at that roast were people making campaign contributions. It was illegal to agreeing. And the one Republican that showed up stopped the Democrats from arresting me. And Mr. Zine did nothing for me. And you're on suspension. Nothing. I'm asking Mr. Zine, who ordered my arrest? Who ordered my arrest? And when you go after an Irish Jew like me, I'm as clever as a Jew, and I'm as nasty as an Irishman. And I'm telling you, you, Mr. Zine, were attacked personally by the mayor. And he asked for a criminal investigation of the $1 million you spent. That's nonsense. And you got on your knees in front of the mayor, and you opened your backside.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Juan Dollhouse. Juan, now you're disrupting the meeting. Juan Dollhouse Dude. Just a moment, sir. Just a moment. Councilman Zine.
Thank you. Since my name was mentioned, I arrived at that roast, which I do support that roast. I arrived there around 7 and left around 8. I did not stay for the dinner. I had another engagement to attend. So Mr. Walsh's situation with Beverly Hills Police Department is unknown to me. I did not get involved in that in any way, shape, or form. So I was not party of that particular situation. So I just wanted to say I went to the roast. I supported the roast. As far as Mr. Walsh's situation, I have no idea what would happen with that.
Okay, Dallas Dude.
I did not go to the roast, but I sent a video to the roast, and I roasted Mr. LaBonge by video. Anyway, I feel like a roasted chicken because I'm wearing one of these marathon blankets which could save a homeless person. You can't say yes, right? Can you say yes?
So you are being disruptive to the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. It can save a homeless person from freezing to death. You know? And these things will roast you in a warm day. We're talking about roasting people, right? Well, the Jewish people got roasted by Hitler in a real way. You know why? Because people were complacent, just like the people are now. How many people come here and speak against this Nazi regime? They really don't. So City Hall is free to do whatever they wish, put up parking meters, take people's homes away from them, shut down businesses, do anything they want to. It is a Nazi regime that is instituted in every city in the United States. We are the neo-Nazis. We really are. And we're roasting everybody in a real way. See, I do feel like a roasted chicken. Right, Mr. LaBonge? Did you feel roasted yesterday? I didn't even go because I don't have the money to go to your fundraisers. I don't have the money to be roasting chickens.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Good morning, council members. James Johnson, SEIU Local 721. First of all, I appreciate the motion that Councilmember Koretz will introduce regarding the issue related to the elimination of the graveyard shift at our shelters. Obviously, everybody is very concerned about this issue. Our purpose is not to demonize anybody. Our purpose is to simply deal with the issue at hand. And the elephant in the room is the reality is that we've built a number of shelters with not enough workers to be able to staff and take care of the animals. That's the real issue. That's the overarching issue. The other fundamental issue is, at the end of the day, what kind of relationship is the Department of Animal Services going to have with their workforce? That's the real issue. To let the media know that you're planning to eliminate the graveyard shift at our centers and not have a conversation at the very least with the workers doesn't make sense. And it is, I believe, emblematic of the unfortunate period that we've endured the last 2 or 3 years where decisions have been made because folks may be trying to put together things with glue and stick. But at the end of the day, the issue that really is critical is about having real dialogue, real conversation, real planning with the workers. In the email that I saw from the general manager of the department, it talked about issues. One line said, human resource, relating, workers as just a human resource, rather impersonal for folks that she knows as well as I do and these folks do, that folks are very committed to the work. So we got to get to the business of trying to transform these departments and doing the right thing. This action did not make sense, will never make sense, and we're opposed to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Jamie Kinzer. And then we'll have Wendell Lopez.
Happy Nowruz, everybody. I also wish to see more people hired to work at our libraries and shelters. We need jobs badly. That puts money right back into the economy. There are a lot of animal lovers out there who I know would just love to work at this. And I feel that this is a very, very great city. I came here from Chicago about 25 years ago and felt that I had come to a much, much better city. This is the town that made Bambi. Please do not harm the workers or the animals. Thank you.
Wendell Lopez.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the Council, thank you for this opportunity to address each one of you. I'm here on behalf of LIUNA Local 777 and on behalf of our Secretary-Treasurer and General Counsel Victor Gordo and on behalf of the Coalition of LA Seated Unions. I am here to urge you today to support Councilman Koretz's motion to defer the proposed elimination of the graveyard shift at the city's animal shelters and to instead refer this matter for further review of all the questions. Raise this up. Thank you. Of all the questions and issues raised in that motion. I will continue. As you know, this matter involves issues of public safety and animal welfare. And we urge you to carefully consider the potential impact of this short-sighted proposal upon your constituents, the city at large, but most importantly, upon the safety and welfare of the animals that are entrusted into the care of this city. Please listen carefully to the words of the men and women who care for these animals on a daily basis, and for the advocates who have come before you on behalf of these innocent creatures. Collectively, we urge you to support Mr. Koretz's motion, and we find it to be the only prudent, responsible, and humane course of civic conduct on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That concludes public comment cards. Mr. Labange, you're on the queue. You are. We called your name. You weren't here.
Question for the city
Councilor
attorney.
Labange, you're disrupting the meeting now, sir. You are now disrupting the meeting. Let's have him escorted out. He's disrupting the meeting. You are disrupting the meeting, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Labange, let's escort him out.
A question for the city attorney. When we set our budgets here, we expect those budgets to be carried through the year.
Let's escort him out.
This issue that was just brought it out, that was made unilaterally by the general manager. Is that a legal action by the general manager that all of a sudden we're going to close the facility when we're budgeted from January 1st?
I can't answer that. It's not on the agenda, and
I know you can't answer it, but let me just ask a question. We have a budget. We have a budget, and then the budget is supposed to carry through the fiscal year. To arbitrarily just stop a service without coming to city council seems against the charter. I've never heard that in 38 years, that all of a sudden they stop. Well, they'll come in and tell us. I just had that technical question so I can prepare my work for next week to help fight for these facilities that should be open.
Mr. Labange, it's not on the agenda, and I'm not going to discuss this because it is not on the agenda. Just because people in public comment mentioned it doesn't mean it should be discussed.
So would you suggest I talk to the CLA's office and try to that so I can prepare
that'd
next
be a good
week?
start.
Thank you.
Councilor Alarcon.
I'm not sure if Mr. Labange is aware that Mr. Koretz has introduced a motion and we'll be having a hearing on this subject, and hopefully we'll get more into this issue. Thank you.
Okay. That does conclude public comment. Madam Clerk, what's next?
Line, Mr. City
Yes, you are out of line. It's not on the agenda, Mr. Labange.
Okay, Councilmember. Okay, well, let's. All right. Madam Clerk, what's next?
Council has motions for post and referral.
Post and referred.
The desk is clear.
Members, any announcements?
CLA that the general manager is not going to take action until it's heard by the city council on the issue related to shelters. I don't know if you know that or not, but there was a news report, so that's very important that it comes forth. And Mr. Koretz, I thank you for your fine and continued work on this issue, and I want to support you on that. I thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements, colleagues? Any other announcements? Seeing none, let's please rise. Oh, Councilman Koretz.
Oh, I'd just like to announce, I'm sure to the dismay of many of my constituents who have greatly enjoyed working with him, that Christopher Kuntz is going to be leaving my office and going to the airport. Christopher is an amazing planner, and I believe one of the sharpest and best planners in the city of Los Angeles, and we are sad to lose him, but our loss is the airport's gain. And he's been a wonderful person to work with, great sense of humor in addition to just being an amazing staff member and planner. So we want to congratulate him on this promotion and congratulate him on that. So,
thank you. See no other announcements, please stand for adjourning motions. Everybody please stand in the chamber. Councilor Perry.
Today I would like to adjourn in memory of Ophelia Collins McFadden. Ms. McFadden was a key member in the history of the labor movement in Los Angeles. In January 1st, 1978, she was appointed as general manager of SEIU Local 434, a role in which she oversaw the third largest county workers union in California. She went on to become the first African-American woman vice president of SEIU and also the first African-American woman to serve on the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor Board. She was a founding member of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists and vice president of the Los Angeles branch of the NAACP. Ophelia cemented her legacy as a leader in the African-American community. Her life was honored in 1999 as one of the greatest labor unionists of the 20th century. She leaves behind a whole host of family, friends, and well-wishers. Patrons can pay their respects today at the Simpson Family Mortuary located at 3443 West Manchester Boulevard from 2 p.m. till 7:45 p.m. and tomorrow at Praises of Zion Baptist Church at 11 a.m. at 8222 South San Pedro. She will be sincerely missed.
Thank you, Councilor Perry. Any other adjourning motions? Councilor Labange.
Thank you very much. I ask we adjourn a longtime Silver Lake resident, Lois Jackson, who was loved by her neighbors, a wonderful person. She battled cancer, and now may she rest in peace. Lois Jackson. Also, I may ask someone who lived a full life, lived to be 95 years old, born here in the City of Angels in 1917. Her father, I'm speaking of Pat Yeomans. Her father, Bill Henry, was the award-winning Los Angeles Times reporter and editor and columnist for over 60 years and Medal of Freedom winner. Her mother was Connie Stanton Henry, who was a Southern California tennis champion. Pat Yeomans was much loved in the community. She married her husband back in 1938. They have four loving children. Service will be held April 16th. But she made many athletic honors, and she was also involved in the '84 Olympic Games. May we remember the beauty of Pat Yeomans, lived to be 95. God rest her soul.
Thank you. Councilman Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I'm asking the City Council to adjourn in the memory of writer, director, producer Henry Bomel, who passed away earlier this week at the all too young age of 65. He's most recently and best known for his involvement with the Showtime series. He was a wonderfully talented and accomplished writer, director, and producer, a novelist and short story writer who, once invited to work in television, helped create some of the greatest and most exceptional programs and series in the history of the medium. Those series include Northern Exposure, Homicide: Life on the Street, Chicago Hope, All Fly Away, Brotherhood, Rubicon, and Homeland. Henry was born in New York but grew up abroad, having followed his father, who was a CIA station chief, on CIA postings in places like Cairo, Amman, Jordan, and Tehran, experiences which certainly must have informed the psychological and physical landscapes of the series Homeland. Graduating Amherst, he launched his literary career with short stories that often appeared in The New Yorker as well as in book form. He later became a novelist, but he was invited to work on Northern Exposure by a fellow writer who had met him years before and remembered him with great respect. And thus his amazing success story in TV began, even though at the time he didn't even own a television set. He would also write and direct a number of significant films. Accolades granted to him over the years included an Emmy, a Writers Guild Award, a Golden Globe, a Peabody, and a Humanitas, and of course productions that he was a beloved part of won a vast array of prizes, earning overwhelming critical acclaim and gained a tremendous fan base worldwide. The people at Homeland are much moved that the city is adjourning in Henry's name, and so they send us this comment to share, which comes from Homeland co-creators Alex Gonza and Howard Gordon, along with the rest of the show's production. They wrote, "Henry was a profoundly decent and generous man, a great writer, and a great friend. No matter how crazy things got, he was the one in the room that you knew everything was going to, and because he was in the room, you knew everything was going to be okay. Everybody here at Homeland is grieving, and we'll miss him beyond words." Henry is survived by his wife Sarah, sons William and Jacob, father William, mother Maggie, brothers Gavin and Nicholas, and his countless devoted friends and fans and colleagues at Homeland.
Thank you, Councilor Koretz. Any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, this concludes the Friday, March 22nd Council meeting. Enjoy the spring. Thank you very much.